All right, all right. Hello. You are tuned into another edition of Meet the Blogger, hashtag SHRM 18 edition. And this week we are joined with a buddy of mine that I've known for quite some time now, Mike Haberman. Hey, say hello to everybody.
Hey, everybody. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Joey.
And so, Mike, you've been a consultant and partner at Omega HR Solutions since 2000, and you started that company, right?
I am one of the co founders of it, and actually, it came from the fact that I had my own consulting business. So I've actually been an independent consultant since 1991.
Wow. And so, what's that life like for those of that are tuning in that are HR professionals at an employer? What's the difference like being a hired gun versus working at a company?
Well, as you well know, the biggest difference is the inconsistency in those paychecks. You not only have to eat what you kill, but you also have to be willing to skin it, collect all those bills, follow up on all of the people that aren't paying you on time, and it's different running a business. A lot of people think being a consultant is just providing advice, but as an independent consultant, you're a business person. You've got to have your plans. You've got to have your accounts payable, your accounts receivable. You've got to have all your marketing, and certainly you can. And when you're initially getting started, you don't go out and hire an accountant. You don't go out and get a bookkeeper, do all this stuff. You end up doing it all yourself. So, I've transitioned and I have bookkeepers now and that do all the billing and follow up on various things. But still, it comes down to you've got to find a business, you've got to court the business, you've got to sell the business, you've got to provide the services that you're talking about, and then you've got to do the billing. So it's a much more difficult task than what people think it is. I've counseled a number of people in the past who are trying to move from HR positions to being a consultant, and when I start telling them about all the stuff that they have to do, many of them opt to stay and just go ahead and find another HR job.
Yeah, there's a book that I love, and I recommend people listen to if they're trying to make the jump into consulting. It's The E Myth by Michael Gerber, and you
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
yeah, it talks about all the different hats that you have to wear. And I recommend that book, and I almost talk people away from being an entrepreneur because of all that's involved. But if you can survive my uh, talking it away from you, then you're probably cut out for it, honestly.
Well, well, I'm the same way in that if I talk to somebody and I've known them for a period of time, perhaps through a SHRM meeting, seeing them on a regular basis, it is I will try to talk them out of it and say, I don't know if you're necessarily suited for this, but if you're willing to take the chance, here's the things you have to do: one, two, three, four, five, six, and then. And then after that, if they stick it out, then I try to support them. I try to help them, and
Yeah.
but it is not a life cut out for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Well, after a few decades of doing this, what keeps you going? What keeps lighting the fire as far as being an HR consultant?
I, you know, probably I would say I almost have a passion. I'm hesitant to call it that, but I have a passion to make sure that people do HR right. I'm an advocate of business, and I've seen my role and saw my role as an HR person as being a business partner, being a business manager. So I'm all for business. That's where we all get our paychecks. But I've seen a lot of HR departments or a lot of HR people that go down the wrong path and do things wrong, and it hurts them. It hurts their company. It hurts the employees. It hurts reputation of HR. And so I have sort of a passion to try and help make sure that people are doing it right. And that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, and so you are a blogger for the SHRM blog team at the conference this year in Chicago, and helping people do it right is really the focus of your blog. I see some of the articles that you post, and they're really focused on doing HR the right way. So, what are some of the things you're looking forward to covering at SHRM Annual this year?
Well, one of the things that I always do at the SHRM conference is, unlike a lot of fellow bloggers who concentrate on talent acquisition and that kind of stuff, I focus on, what I call in the trench HR. So I go to the compliance sessions. I listen to the lawyers and I listen to updates on laws and those kinds of things, so I can inform people. So I do that. Those are some of the sessions that I'll be at the SHRM conference. I also have a passion for the future. And every Friday, my blog is called Future Friday, and then some subject after that, because I'm trying to prepare HR people for what's coming down the pike. What do they have to be paying attention to and doing 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Because even 10 years from now, that's going to get here quicker than we know. And if you're not prepared for that and doing things, you're going to be behind the curve, which is what everybody in HR always hates being. Is, we want to look forward to tomorrow and not what happened yesterday, but we're always having to look at what happened yesterday. One of the biggest complaints about HR for the past 30 years has been, I always have to be reactive. I can't be proactive. So what I'm trying to do is talk about things and go to sessions and highlight speakers where you can learn something about being proactive. And that's very important to me.
Nice. And where can people find your blog if they want to tune in and read it, ramping up towards the conference?
It's OmegaHRSolutions.com. And that's the website. But the first front page on that is the blog. All the stuff about my business is on pages behind that. So when you go there, you're not going to get a business pitch. You're going to be brought right to that day's blog post. So it's easy to find me. The other way people can find me is on Twitter, and it's just at Mike Haberman, which is Haberman. And it is those are the two easiest ways to look me up.
Nice. And Mike, where in the world are you? I've been speaking with people in South Dakota, and I'll be speaking with Dan Cross, who's I believe he's in Delaware now. But where are you geographically located?
I'm on the north side of Atlanta, and actually was the first conference that I got involved with as a blogger was when SHRM came down here, and they enlisted me as a local blogger to start in that process. And I think this will be my 7th conference now as a blogger. So
okay. And how have you seen the conference sort of evolve since that initial time that you were there in Atlanta?
It's gone up and down a couple ways. The group in Atlanta was somewhat of a small group. They've since expanded it. They reduced it. They expanded it again. Probably the biggest way it's changed in the past 7 years is the realization by SHRM and other HR people how important social media is, how important having those bloggers and those, the people. And in reality, what we, as you know, at the conference, what they're really looking for us to do is to be more tweeters than bloggers, and to have an ongoing stream of dialogue and conversation going on. So, in Atlanta, we were teaching people about Twitter. We were teaching people about blogging. Today, we don't have to do that so much, and we have, and at this conference, I think we're going to have several new bloggers that are there that are joining the blogging group. So it's going to be interesting to see that mix of new people coming in.
Awesome. And so I'm sure you've been to Chicago before. Matter of fact,
yes.
I think we connected at the last time that SHRM was in Chicago for annual.
Right.
But do you have any tips for newbies or first-time attenders of how they should approach the conference and things they should see and do in the city?
Well, the first thing that everybody coming to a conference needs to do is they need to connect with Steve Brown and follow Steve Brown. That advice is golden.
Yes.
He has probably the best view of HR of anybody in the world. You will walk away from your meeting with him or listening to him much more enthusiastic about the career that you have in human resources. The other thing is, a lot of people in HR have a tendency to, despite what the view is, have a tendency to be introverts. And in Chicago, as you will recall the last time, we had Dan Pink as a speaker who talked about None of us are really true introverts. None of us are true extroverts. Most of us are what are called ambiverts, where we can step out of our what we're comfortable with and meet people. And that's what we need to do. And if you're going to a conference, this is the first time you've been to a conference, make an effort to meet people, not just meet speakers, but just meet people. You're standing in the lunch line. Don't just stand in the lunch line looking at your phone. Talk to the people, the person in front of you, talk
That's
to the
right.
person behind you. You're at, and go to you will be absolutely, if you're first timer, amazed the sizes of the exhibition hall. Go and talk to those vendors. Don't be afraid that they're going to contact you later with a sales pitch. You can dump that email. You don't have to follow up with everyone. But the exhibition hall is where you find out about the cutting edge stuff that's going on in HR and HR technology and things that you can do to engage employees. So go and talk to those vendors. That will be as valuable amount of time that you spend as going to any session that you go to.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, hey, Mike, thanks for joining this Meet the Blogger session. I try to give everybody the last word. So take it away. Do you have any final thoughts, any final goals for the conference? And again, you can give your social plugs.
Well, first off, I want to thank you for going through this effort to, have a lot of the bloggers on there so people can get to know who they are. Don't be, if you see me at the conference, don't be afraid to come up and say hello. And I will be happy to talk to anybody about blogging, about HR, whatever questions that they may have. And you will see me a lot in the exhibition hall because I like visiting those vendors. It's not just about the swag; it's about the information that you get from them. I have a couple in particular that I want to see, and just bring some good walking shoes and and take time to get out of the conference and go into the city. Chicago is a fantastic place. I lived up in that area for 3 years. There is a lot to do. So take advantage of the opportunities that you have if you've never been to Chicago before.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe, hitting the subscribe button on the page, and check out some more videos while you're here. Thanks.